Do you see it as an absolute necessity to put down a large number of these animals? What could be a different solution to this problem?
Well, Anton, you're speaking as someone from the Netherlands. In the Philippines, being euthanized is actually a luxury.
All the name cards here I can see. The information about the sex of the dogs, the breed, their rescue story, and this is for the people who are coming by that could potentially adopt the dog, I assume, right? Okay.
With Chi-Chi over here, she grew up in a very luxurious way. She actually eats cat food for some reason.
Not afraid at all, is she?
Yeah, because some people are afraid of her.
All right.
She's sometimes attacked.
Cases of animal cruelty of people hurting animals on purpose. Does that happen frequently here in Manila and the Philippines?
Yes, especially in the provinces, people would take an animal, butcher it for food. You can see there's a lot of cats who just finished their surgery.
What was the procedure exactly?
The ones who are shaved, they're female, so they're spayed.
Do you still cry when an animal dies?
Absolutely. I myself having 18 dogs, some of them are senior dogs, so we can't really avoid not crying.
Good day to all. Today I'm visiting the Philippines Animal Welfare Society, or PAWS for short. I've been to the Animal Blessings Day in the Mall of Asia in Manila just a few days ago. And that was the fairy tale side of the world that animals live in here in the Philippines. Because there's also another side. Not every pet is being pampered and loved by their owners. There are many cases of stray animals here. Statistics show that there are over 12 million strays actually in the Philippines. So I decided to dive a little bit further into this topic, and I contacted this organization that is, it's a welfare society, a rehabilitation center for animals. This is going to be about the work of PAWS. I'm really curious about how they formulate their strategy to solve this problem of the many strays that are currently inhabiting the Philippines. And I'm also curious about the people behind the work. You can already hear the dogs barking. And over there must be some volunteers or employees of PAWS. This here is one of the volunteer workers, is that correct?
Yes, my name is John Ray. Hi everybody. So I've been a volunteer for PAWS since 2016. So I was 18 years old back then. So it's been a long journey for everybody here, especially me, as a young person back then. Right now, PAWS has grown a bit big. A lot of improvements happen with the shelter, especially this area. So as you can see here, this is the multi-purpose hall, the outside area. So as you can see, there is a patient, an animal who just went through her spay and neuter program. So this animal here, he's actually currently under recovery. So that's why he has IV fluids. There are certain types of breeds here in the Philippines that needs a little bit more work when it comes to spaying them and neutering them, especially females. So that's why she needs to be have extra care. Since it's a non-government organization, we are mostly focused on volunteer-based people. And if we move here, we could also find some other people that works for PAWS.
All right, let's go.
This is
Hello.
our executive
Hi,
director.
my name is
Anna.
Anton. Nice to meet you.
So she's the one who is the mind of PAWS.
The shelter is exclusively for animals rescued from cruelty or neglect, where we can file criminal charges against the animal offenders. Because if we cannot file against animal offenders, then the rescue of that dog or cat will have to be parked until space becomes available at the shelter. John Ray will show you that all the kennels are full. People seem to think that we're like a never-ending space, and there's no such thing. Every shelter which will reach maximum capacity. And if somebody's taking in, then you have to be suspicious, because where are they putting all the animals? A good facility will always have like limited admission because they control whoever comes in. if they're just taking in and taking in, and then they're claiming that they're no kill, where are they putting all the animals?
I can
This is-
imagine if the city pound, the government wouldn't take action and take these animals off the streets, because from what I understand, there are over 12 million strays in total in the Philippines. That these animals will keep reproducing and that they're actually harming themselves. So, do you see it as an absolute necessity to put down a large number of these animals? Although it is, of course, very inhumane, what could be a different solution to this problem?
Well, Anton, you're speaking as someone from the Netherlands. In the Philippines, being euthanized is actually a luxury because
Wow.
most of the pounds, when they get the animal, they say they don't euthanize because we are a Catholic nation, so euthanasia is frowned upon. What happens is there's no medical attention for those animals, there's no quarantining. So a sick animal will come in there, it will have distemper. We filed a criminal case against a pound where a dog had half of its face ripped off, and the dog was just standing there not getting any medical care, and they were just basically waiting for the dog to die, because what they do is not put them down and not treat them either. So they will in effect die, but they will die on their own, slow agonizing deaths.
So, you as an animal welfare society, what do you focus on? What is your strategy to solve the problem?
We're focused on educating people that it's responsible pet ownership, it's spay neuter, that's the key. Many people still don't know what spay neuter is, and they don't understand that it is part of the responsible pet ownership. They just feel that it's rabies vaccination. Even the local government unit will reply in a manner that, they have vaccination programs, but they don't have a lot of spay neuter programs happening. So it's a matter of the supply overflowing and not enough people adopting pets, and not enough people spaying and neutering their pets. Mrs. Lee Chauco, our president, reorganized in 1986, and from there was a more strategic approach. She lobbied for the Animal Welfare Act, and that's the nation's first animal anti-cruelty law. Prior to that, you could kill an animal in front of me and you cannot be charged with any crime. To put this into context, most developed countries had their anti-cruelty laws in 1898. So we are 100 years behind.
Wow.
So the cruelty law is so new as a concept that we were among the very first in Asia to have a national anti-cruelty law. And Filipinos still think, most of them think that hurting an animal will have no consequences, or that very few people get punished for animal cruelty. And that may be true because people don't really step up to file an affidavit to certify that they have witnessed animal cruelty. Because as a crime, the quantum of evidence needed for crimes is beyond reasonable doubt. And if you just don't have any witnesses with affidavits, then it's very difficult to prosecute.
Right. All right, thank you for your time.
You also see a lot of animals here at the shelter, especially cats. So you saw cats over here. These cats here at the shelter, they're actually the stray cats of the shelter. So they don't really wander outside the shelter. They just stay here mainly. What we usually say to the people, they are our welcoming committee.
Do all the animals here have go by their own name?
Yes.
So you have a personal connection with all of these animals?
We actually know their names by heart, since we mostly see them every day at the shelter. So I visit the shelter 3 times a week. So seeing them all around here. So if I don't see a cat that I know, I would say, "Where's Junior? Where's Susie?" So we know their names since they're part of our lives as well.
Right. And when we're looking at behind me and all this ground, the entrance is over there. It goes all the way back from there. This ground we're on, who does it belong to?
So the land actually is donated or leased by Meralco. So Meralco is the electric subsidiary of the Philippines. So they're the ones who actually let us use this land for the animals to have a place. We're very fortunate that they let us borrow the land, use it as a place where animals can feel safe.
Right. So technically, at any time, they can pull the plug, so to speak.
Yes, they can really pull the plug.
All right, let's move on. About animal cruelty, there are also cases in the West where animals have been abandoned. There are also, I think it's a significantly lower number, but cases of animal cruelty of people hurting animals on purpose. Does that happen frequently here in Manila and the Philippines?
Yes, especially in the provinces. If you've been there, you will see people would take an animal, butcher it for food. Usually they use it for
Is that considered cruelty if you eat the animal?
Yes, it is. Since dogs and cats are actually not really meant for consumption, they are mostly for being a pet. Just like what other animals are. When you butcher an animal, especially a cat, a dog, you're really putting them at stake because you don't know if they have rabies. So what if they have rabies and you ingest rabies, you get infected too.
What about the COVID times? Was it allowed to walk your dog in the street during lockdown?
Not really. It was really hard, especially if you live in a very crowded area. So what we do is normally with our houses, we just walk them inside our house. So that's pretty much their exercise, and then we just run with them around the house.
So where did it do their business, so to speak? Is it just inside the house?
Yes.
This is going to be pretty noisy, I reckon.
It is.
All right. Do you think these dogs have a good life?
Before they were not, especially this one. This dog, Asti, come here, baby. Hello. So she was actually rescued at a site here nearby. So she was a hit and run victim. So Asti had a broken leg back then. She was abandoned by her owner, and during that time we thought she was pregnant, but it turns out she was not. She just had her belly swollen a bit because of the fear as well. But right now, Asti, she graduated from her quarantine area. Now she could play along with other dogs.
All the name cards here, I can see. The information about the sex of the dogs, the breed, their rescue story, and this is for the people who are coming by that could potentially adopt the dog, I assume, right? Okay. So you're functioning at maximum capacity now, right?
Yes.
And that's how many animals you have here in total?
Right now, here in the shelter, we have 65 dogs and 100 plus cats. The dogs here came from abuse and neglect, so there are also other dogs at the other side. So they're at the recovery area.
So I assume that when people, when they bring a dog here and you're at maximum capacity, you just have to send them, you have to send them away, right?
What we do is, if they're interested in fostering the animal, because whenever they bring in an animal and we are at max capacity, we would tell them if you could foster them for a while, a month or two, until there's an area that opens or a dog gets adopted, then we could take in the animal. Fortunately, there are some animals who are lucky enough to be admitted because they were fostered first. So let's move again to another area.
Yeah.
This one is the recovery area for animals. So
Right.
you see here dogs that are amputees.
In that area haven't been socialized yet, and
Some dogs there are really still traumatized from what happened.
hello.
So
Right, a bit more quiet down here.
So this area over here, this big area, this was actually once the doggy park or the dog walk for our dogs, because we can't really walk them before down there due to and other animals being admitted to the shelter. So there are some instances that they would bring in a dog or a cat that are sick, so we can't really risk our shelter animals getting sick as well. We can now move around our animals and have them explore the shelter.
Right.
So
Just as these two are exploring, they have already explored it. So can you tell a bit more about, what the chicken, for example, is doing here?
this chicken is actually part of the better chicken option of PAWS. So the better chicken option is a humane way of raising farm chicken. Normal broiler chickens are raised in a battery cages wherein they are confined in a very small cage. And then what they can only do is eat, sleep. So that's the only thing they can do. But with Chi-Chi over here, she grew up in a very luxurious way. She actually eats cat food for some reason.
All right.
So we give her some chicken meal, but she prefers the cat foods.
Right.
So Chi-Chi here chases cats, chases rats, and
The cats don't chase her. She
No.
chases the cats. Not afraid at all, is she?
Yeah, because some people are afraid of her.
All right.
She sometimes attacks people.
She attacks, right?
Yeah, but so far-
Hopefully she will not attack me.
These cats here have kidney problems already. So what we do, whenever we feed them, we would mix it up with other formulas so that their sodium intake would be less, so that they will no longer have any problems with their kidneys. So this area, this is actually a bully area. So these cats are bullies. So as you can see, they all have their own spots.
Right. So they're also dominant cats.
Yes, they are really bully cats.
Well, it's funny that they're all dominant cats, but still in such a small confinement, they seem to have found their own spots, right?
They actually found solace in this area. For cats, you will normally see them if they're not healthy is with their fur. So most cats' fur is shiny, they're healthy. But unlike these cats, their fur is a bit dull.
Yeah.
So what we do here, we do wipe them down. So what we do for cats to give them baths is get a clean towel, dampen it a little bit, and then just wipe the fur so we can clean the cats. But some cats here are really sick that they need to be isolated from other cats.
So what do you think? What makes an exception? What makes a certain person connect with a certain animal?
Actually, that's something that most people here at the shelter don't know how. We don't know how or why other dogs prefer this person over another one. It's like the dog is choosing you instead of us choosing them.
What's your motivation? Why do you do this?
Honestly, for us volunteers, it's just the love for animals. I myself, we have 18 dogs at home, and then 10 cats. Half of them came from the shelter. So
8 dogs and 10 cats.
18
18 dogs
and 10 cats.
and 10 cats.
And half of them came from the shelter.
Man, how do you even, do you have a big house or is it?
Not really. It's a very small house. It's just that we have spaces for them to roam around.
So I would say you're at maximum capacity as well, right?
Yes, actually, our house is a sub shelter. There are 3 houses that 3 volunteers actually have a lot of dogs. Another one is a director, a board of director member. She has 50 dogs and 20 cats. So she also houses a lot of animals.
Wow.
So most of them came from the shelter.
Wow. Some of these animals won't make it. That's a realistic, harsh truth. Now, as a volunteer and an animal lover, how do you handle those emotions?
Well, pretty normal. We get attached to the animal, and then if they don't really make it, we would always cry. But there are some instances that some volunteers who've been working with the shelter for a very long time got used to the experience. Every day, now and then, there are animals who would die, wouldn't make it. So they would just say, it's part of life, it's a cycle. So we just need to make sure that the next animal that comes in the shelter survives, gets adopted.
Do you still cry when an animal dies?
Absolutely. It's an involuntary feeling that happens every time. So I myself, having 18 dogs, some of them are senior dogs, so
we can't really avoid not crying.
This is the last one, right?
Yes, this is actually the quarantine area. So we can go inside. There are actually two areas here that we make sure that doesn't mix.
Wait. Just one. Look at all the. I don't know if you can hear it, but there's like a little orchestra of cats. All right.
So here there are cats that has FELD and FIV. So these sickness is very contagious towards cats. They're like human HIV. So that's why we separate these areas here with the healthy cats over there.
So is it a sexual transmittable disease or?
Yes, actually it's they can be transmitted by saliva, blood, scratch, bites.
It's not dangerous for humans though?
Not at all. So it's not bad for humans, but whenever we handle cats that are positive and we want to handle a cat that is healthy, we always make sure to clean our hands so that there's no cross contamination with our animal. Yes, Wind. Wind. You can see there's a lot of cats who just finished their surgery.
Oh, they just had a treatment. I can see it. So all the same treatment?
Yes.
Because they have all the same scar. What kind of surgery?
So what we do with especially female cats, a side incision. Instead of cutting them in between their bellies, we just move it the side area. So at least when they lay down, they don't irritate this side most of the time. So these cats here would stay for a while.
What was the procedure exactly?
The ones who are shaved, they're female, so they're spayed, and this guy is actually a male, so he's neutered.
Right.
So these cats are all patients of spay and neuter.
All animals here, they are not able to reproduce.
Yes, all the animals here, even the ones roaming around the shelter, they can no longer reproduce. The next volunteer batch would be on January, so if you're interested on volunteering with PAWS, just submit your process there and we'll let you know once we're ready.
Cool. Well, I guess the circle is complete, right? We have made a tour through the different departments here at PAWS. Well, there we have it. A tour of PAWS and the beautiful work that these people are doing for the animals. And yeah, I can't wait to immerse myself deeper in the animal culture and move on to a different aspect of it, which would be the city pound. And that story is a bit more harsh because of a lot of the animals there are not being adopted, are not given the chance to live out their lives in a good way. Thank you for your time. Bye bye. All the best. Hey, John Ray, there's a cab nearby. So anyway, I wanted to say goodbye to you on camera. Thanks a lot for giving me the tour.
For visiting the shelter as well. We really appreciated your dedication here. Visiting us. During typhoon is a big thing. Thank you so much.
Thank you for being so welcoming.
You're welcome. Thank you.